Hey guys, it's James here with another video devotional. Hope you guys are doing well in this time. Just being able to spend time with your families, hopefully your small groups as well, and just like hanging out, spending time with the Lord, especially as a lot of these other devotionals have been about, which is good. For me, I decided, so recently I've been going over a devotional series about Proverbs with Rachel just on YouVersion, the Bible app. And so I decided to do today's over Proverbs 2. This short introduction, like if you are not familiar with it, the first several chapters of Proverbs, kind of like an introduction to the rest of Proverbs. So part of it is including like a series of speeches from like a father to a son, just talking about the importance of wisdom. So this passage that I chose is part of that. And yeah, let's get into it. So it's Proverbs 2 1 through 8. My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining your heart to understanding. Yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk in integrity, guarding the paths of justice and watching over the way of his saints. Um, so yeah, just like starting to kind of unpack this, as I mentioned, this over, as you can tell, it's over wisdom, right? And just like the importance of it. And really, like even the rest of the chapter after, outside of the part that I chose here, talks more about that and just like gives example as to why wisdom is important to seek out, and also the next several chapters as well. Um, so yeah, the title, the title of this segment is actually the value of wisdom. And yeah, so wisdom clearly in this chapter is it's something that comes from God, right? It's not something that like we just like naturally get on our own. And like because it comes from God, as you see like in like verse 5, you'll understand the fear of the Lord, find the knowledge of God, right? So it comes from God. The Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. um, to that extent, I think it's just like a good reminder for myself as well. Like we we all spend many years in school, right? We get a lot of knowledge that may or may not be super useful or relevant in the rest of our lives. But in doing things like hopefully you guys have been reading the Bible or like praying or even like talking to your parents, your relatives, your counselors, um, and God, just there's useful knowledge there, right? That's I kind of think of more as wisdom, like how it impacts our lives, and in the sense of it helps us figure out the way we act or like the way that we do things. And so like to me it's never really been an issue to, I guess, understand that wisdom is an important, um I guess, like attribute or something to look for, because it just seems obvious to me. But here, like, just it's just emphasizing that it comes from God, and it's not just something that I like. Sometimes I might think that I gain wisdom just from doing things or like making mistakes. And while that is true to extent, like ultimately that still comes from God, because um, that's where true wisdom lies, I guess, if that makes sense. But I think more importantly in this passage, there's also just a sense of, or I guess equally importantly, there's a sense of like, especially like in verse 4, it says like, if you seek it like silver, search for it as hidden treasures. That kind of just stood out to me, because wisdom is not something that you get just on accident, right? It's not, you don't just like lie around doing nothing and it just falls into your lap. Like the author of this proverb or this chapter of Proverbs is saying pretty clearly that you have to look for it. You have to seek it like silver, like a valuable metal that doesn't just appear out of nowhere, right? Um, so I think that stood out to me definitely. Just like we have to make an effort to try and look for wisdom. So what do you like? Then you ask like what does that look like, right? And like the clear and I guess obvious answer would be like talking to God or reading the Bible or like I mentioned before, talking to your parents or like people who have gained wisdom of some sort in the course of their lives. Like I would definitely not deign to say that I am like wise necessarily by any means. I recognize that there are many more or wiser people that I know, and I really respect them for that wisdom as well. But I think like throughout the course of my life, like just in this relationship that I've had with God for so many years, that He has taught me things, and like it's I'm very fortunate to have received that wisdom as well. Um, so, but in doing so, I also acknowledge like I need to be humble and like recognize that, right? Like just part of what I said there. Like I don't think I'm necessarily wise by any means, but because I recognize that like wisdom ultimately like is from God, and I need to be cognizant of that and like cognizant of um, how like human I am, and like there's always things that I can improve on and be wiser in. Um, so I guess just that's kind of like the main idea that I wanted to get from this passage. Like just wisdom is important, and it comes from God, and you have to seek it, and you have to seek it intentionally. Again, just seek it like silver, search for it as for hidden treasures. You don't just stumble upon treasures, right? You follow like a treasure map, and you go to X marks the spot or whatever. Not that it's going to be necessarily that easy, but it's worth it for wisdom. Um, so yeah, I just encourage you guys to, as you as you have all this like extra time just doing online courses. I know like a lot of my kids, a lot of my guys, their homework is optional. Like I don't even know how that works, but I understand a lot of them are bored. I imagine a lot of you guys are bored. Just spend that time like wisely, right? Like do something with it. Look for wisdom. Okay. So let me just end this time of devotional, I guess. Again, Proverbs 2, 1 through 8. But let me just end this time in a quick word of prayer, and hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend. Heavenly Father, God, Lord, just thank you for just this ability that I have to um, even be able to record a devotional, Lord. Just the technology, the ability, like there's no persecution or anything like that. I can just do this from the safety and comfort of my own home. Lord, I pray that all of these people listening, all the kids, all the other counselors, whoever it is, God, I pray that you just be watching over us, Lord, and help guide us to you in our search for wisdom, Lord. And I pray that you would um, give us the incentive, not the incentive, but give us the drive to want to better ourselves, to want to seek after you, Lord. And I pray that yeah, that'd just be something that we would do willingly and out of like a great love for you, and not just because we feel like we are supposed to, Lord. So yeah, again, Lord, I pray that you would just help us all spend our time wisely. Help us all spend these next weeks or months just in a manner that would glorify you, even though it's like drastically different from, I guess, our normal lives, Lord. Just thank you again, and pray all these things in your name. Amen. All right. Hopefully I see you guys soon. And if not, I'm always open to like conversations. If you want to reach out to me, text me, or email me, or even Instagram message me. I am always down to do that. So, yeah, thanks for listening, and see you guys soon, hopefully.